the Relaxed Body 500 watt Deluxe version. I'm gonna show you how to assemble it and all the features. Hey everyone, I'm Dustin. I have nearly 20 years experience in the bike and e-bike industry. Today I'm gonna assemble and show you all the features on the Relaxed Body 500 watt Deluxe version. Now, before we get into it, hit that subscribe button below, stay in touch with us here at Sixthreezero. Be the first to know about all the new content we're putting out, giveaways we do, and of course, new product releases. All right, the Relaxed Body is a semi-recumbent e-bike, and now for the 2025 version, we've added a suspension fork with all integrated lights as well. This is a really unique, cool e-bike, unlike anything else that's out there. It's great for tall riders, short riders, and now with the suspension fork, it just adds to the unbelievable comfort of this e-bike. So, your bike's gonna arrive in a box this size. It weighs approximately 80 pounds. Size of the box is approximately 64 inches long, about 35 inches tall, and 9 inches wide. Okay, so when you go to open the top of your box, you want to make sure you're very careful because there's staples in the box right here. So just be mindful of that. You could go ahead and remove all the staples if you want, to get them out of the way. That way you don't accidentally scratch yourself, or just be really careful of them. Okay, we're gonna bring you in for a closer look, and I'm gonna show you exactly how the e-bike looks when it arrives to you. Okay, so you can see when you open up the top here, you've got some foam. I'm gonna go ahead and remove any of the foam that I can easily get out of the way. We can leave that piece there. I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. Now you've got this box labeled box 3. I'm gonna set that to the side here. You've got your assembly instructions. Put that down here as well. And you've got your seat that actually comes already mounted to the bike. Let me go ahead and throw out this. Okay, so you can see we can't really do much right now with the way it's packaged. So the best option is I'm gonna show you how to cut the front of the box. If you have a friend or someone with you, you guys could both lift it out together, but it's not really a one-man job, okay? So I'm gonna back this up right here. Now I'm gonna take my box cutter, okay? And this is very important. You're just gonna make one cut right at the edge of the box here. That was a pretty terrible cut. But you wanna make sure that you cut it in a way, again, that was probably my worst cut ever, but you wanna make it cut in a way where if you do need the box again, you can seal it up with tape, okay? Oops. So I'm gonna come right here. All right, now we've got our own little garage door there. And again, that can be sealed up should you need to reuse the box. All right, now what we're gonna do is you're gonna grab the frame. Let's see where the best place is, right underneath here. And from there, you can basically roll it out on the rear wheel, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is get it out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and lay it down on my mat, all right? And then we can move our box to the side here. All right. Now, once we have it down on the ground, first thing we're gonna wanna do is remove our front tire, which is located right here. Now, there are a lot of zip ties. So in order to remove the zip ties, you can use a box cutter or a really sharp scissor. I like a tin snip. If you have one of these at home, makes it very easy to come through and cut all these off, okay? And then it's handy to also have a garbage can close by as well. Okay. Okay, now, this is the crank arm for the pedals. So let's just go ahead and snip off this as well for that packaging, and then your wheel can slide right off like so, okay? So I'm gonna set that to the side, and this is your front fender, which I'm also gonna set off to the side here as well. Now, before we move on to the next steps, I'm gonna go through and cut off a lot of the zip ties. Now, before I do that, I just wanna point out a few things here. Number one, your seat post actually comes attached to the frame. So this bike actually comes with two different length seat posts, a shorter and a longer. This is to allow for the seat to go all the way down. So one of the seat posts comes in the frame, and then you have a shorter one that comes with it as well. I'm gonna set that to the side here, okay? Now, I'm gonna go through, cut all the zip ties up, and then we'll resume the assembly. All right, first thing we're gonna do is get our front wheel on, because once we get the front wheel on, everything else is gonna be much easier. So, put our wheel to the side here. First thing is we need to remove this plastic packaging. And then there's some packaging on the other side as well right here. So go ahead and pull that off, okay? Now, we want to also remove this packaging. And I just want to say as well, I leave some of the packaging on during the assembly process because you don't want to scratch up the frame while you're building it, okay? Now, if you see here, there's a piece that comes in the fork, and this is packaging to just keep the axle from bending in transit. So you need to bring a 12 millimeter in here and loosen this, and then you'll be able to pull that out. There we go. And once you have that loose, you can just throw that out, okay? Alrighty. Now, from here, we can actually tilt the bike upright, and you should be able to just rest the bike on the forks like so, okay? Now, your handlebars are sort of in the way a little bit. So you've got a couple options. One, you can leave them off just for the time being, or you can slide them in to the stem, but I'm gonna leave them off. That'll be easier for me. Okay, now you're gonna wanna insert first we gotta loosen the nuts here, and you wanna bring them to the very end of the axle. You also can take the nuts all the way off, totally up to you, or you can kind of set them like that so the axle can slip in, all right? Okay, you wanna get your tire positioned right in front here, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna lift up the frame, okay? And then you're gonna roll your tire in, and you want to insert your rotor. Okay, now you wanna make sure the washers go on the outside of the fork, all right? And you gotta get your rotor inside of the brake, inside of the brake pads, okay? So if you look in there, in the disc brake, you have your rotor and the calipers here. You gotta slip the rotor in the middle. Now you'll know once it's in there, the wheel will seat nicely, and I have it slipped into the forks. And then I'm gonna go ahead and hand tighten these down just to keep that wheel in. And now from here, we can go ahead and get our kickstand down, which is gonna make this process much easier now. Okay, now you've obviously got these handlebars just kind of dangling here, right? So let's go ahead and quickly deal with these. I'm gonna come in here, remove all this packaging. All right, so to get the handlebars installed, you're gonna have to open up your box labeled box 3. And you have some tools in here as well that we actually will use a little bit later. You've got your charger in here, some instructions, and you've got two essential parts for the handlebars, which is this little cap right here, which this goes on before anything. You put that on top right here. It's just really a decorative piece, but it does make it look real nice. And then you've got your stem right here, okay? So this is a unique stem. You've got the ability to adjust your handlebars here, and then you can also adjust the neck here, which I'll show you that a little bit more about that later. So this is gonna go into the stem like so, okay? And drop down, all right? So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our 6mm, okay? And we're gonna get our wheel straight here. And then we're gonna straighten our stem out. Now, this is something you can always come back and change, right? Because you can raise and lower the stem, but I'm just gonna get it locked in position, and then I wanna line it up straight with my top tube here of the frame. And let's go ahead and just tighten that down, okay? So this is, you wanna make sure you get this nice and tight, all right? So that's your 6mm Allen key. Now, we're gonna wanna loosen these two bolts up here, which is your 5mm Allen key. Okay. And I promise we'll get back to the front wheel here in a second. So you wanna go ahead and just pull these both off. Okay. Okay. All right. And I'm just going to put these back into this piece. And now from here, we can bring our handlebars up. And you want to center the ribbed part of the handlebars underneath this piece, okay? Now again, these bolts are meant to be loosened and tightened. These are bolts to help you find the correct angle of your handlebars, okay? So I'm gonna go with a position like that just for now. And again, make sure this ribbed part is in the center to ensure you get it properly tightened. All right. Now you want to get these really tight so they don't slip or move while you're riding at all. Okay. All right. Now that I've got those in there, I want to work back down to the wheel here so we can finish this process. Okay, so here's your front fender. We're going to move on to installing this. Okay. All right, so you've got this bolt right here. We need to loosen that. And this is a 10mm and I believe a 5mm Allen key. So you can come in. And then you just want to get this loose to the point where you can hand loosen it. Okay, okie dokie. All right, okay, there we can use our hand now. And I'm just gonna leave the bolt in like that, okay? So now what we're going to do is we are going to put our fender through. You want to kind of twist this a little bit to get the fender in. And while you're doing that, just make sure that your struts stay on the outside of the fork, okay? So let's make sure. All right, there we go. Now we've got our light here as well. So for the light, I like to put the light behind the fender tab like so, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna push our bolt in, we're gonna put our light on, and then we're gonna put our fender tab on, okay? Like that. And then I'm gonna put my washer and my nut on the back here. Okay, and hand tighten that. Now, another really important thing is you wanna get this fender up as high as it can go. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my 10 millimeter back here and I'm gonna bring this up and hold that with my left hand. And then I'm gonna come in and tighten down this bolt. Now, if you don't get the fender up as high as it can go, there is a chance it's gonna rub on the tire, okay? So you wanna be careful of that. All right, got that in there nice and snug. All right, now inside your toolkit, you're gonna have another Allen key that will fit into these bolts down here for the fender strut. And you're just gonna come and loosen these. All right. And then you're going to put the eyelet of the strut matched up with the eyelet on the frame and tighten that down. And you want the screw to be right in the middle of the eyelet, okay? Let me go ahead and loosen that. Okay. All right, make sure that's nice and snug. All right, and then you'll just repeat that process on the other side. Okay, now we're gonna come back to our front wheel, and this is a 15 millimeter, which does come in your toolkit. I'm gonna use my ratcheting one that I have, and we're gonna come in and tighten down the front axle bolt. All right. Now you want to make sure you get these tight, so really want to push down until you can't push down anymore. All right, and now we're there. We've got the whole front wheel assembly all complete. Now I'm going to come in really quick and remove all the packaging because at this point I feel good about where we're at. That way I can see exactly what's going on for the final assembly steps. Okay, now we're going to install our pedals. Pedals are going to come in that box 3. And they're gonna be marked on the inside here, R and L. You'll be able to see that at home. Now, the key to assembling the pedals is they're both going to be tightened by turning them forward, okay? So the left pedal is gonna be tightened by turning it to the left. That's contradictory to the typical righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and that's so when you are pedaling forward, in theory, you're actually tightening the pedal. You're not loosening it at all, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and get these on here, hand tightened. Okay, and then we'll come over here to this side. All right, and you can kind of just spin the pedal to get it in there. Now, in your toolkit, it's going to come with a 15 millimeter open-ended wrench. I have a special pedal wrench. So this is a 15 millimeter. So you're just gonna come and crank these down. You wanna get it to the point where you can't tighten it anymore, but you don't need to go extreme on it. Just when you start to feel that resistance and you can't really do it anymore easily. Okay. Okay, there we go. So now we have the pedals installed. And again, this is your extra seat post, okay? So if you'll notice with the seat post that comes in here, that's as low as it can go. So if you do want the seat to go even lower, you'll have to swap seat posts. Now, I'll go ahead and show you how to do that, okay? So underneath here, you've got 2 screws on either side of your seat post. These actually are what allow the tilt of the seat. So you can loosen them and tilt the angle of the seat to your choosing. Also, to just remove the seat post, you would loosen those, take this one out, insert your new one, tighten them and find the right tilt, and then you'd be back in business. Now, as far as the quick release, what you wanna do to get this tight is you wanna turn this knob as much as it will go right here, okay? Then, once that's tightened down as far as it will go, okay, that's when you'll come in and clamp this down like so, okay? And that will allow the seat to be nice and tight so it won't move while you're riding. All right, now let's come up here to the handlebars and let's do our display. Okay, so your display has your Allen key that comes with it will fit in here, and you're just gonna loosen the bolt, but actually try to keep the nut in there because it's the shape of the nut, so it should stay in there nice when you loosen the bolt, okay? So I have the bolt in my hand here. And I'm gonna come right here. Same thing on this side. All right. Okay. Now you're just gonna open this up and clamp these around your handlebar. All right. And you want to get that centered. Okay. So you could just eyeball it. And then of course you can also change the angle. Again, this is something, you know, you could mess around with as you start to make your rides and figure out where exactly you like it in what position. All right. So just going to tighten that down. Put our next bolt in. Okay. And before you tighten it all the way, just make sure you have it in the position you like. But again, you know, this is something you can always come back to at a later date once you figure out exactly where you want it. Okay. All right, that's nice and snug there. Okay, one other thing now I want to show you is up on the handlebars here, okay? So you've got this unique stem here that allows you to adjust. So not only can you adjust the tilt of the handlebars by loosening these 2 bolts, but you can also adjust the tilt of the bar by loosening up here. So now actually this is a 2-step process. Let me show you. On the front here, you have a Allen key, a 5mm Allen key bolt right here. So you want to get this loose, okay? So go ahead and you don't want the bolt to come out, but you want it loose, okay? Now, if you see here, I have the ability to move this stem closer or farther away, right? So this is a great feature, obviously, if you're tall or short, because if you're short, you want to bring that bar into your body, okay? So let's just say I want it like right about here. Then I'd come back here and tighten this down. Okay. Make sure you get this bolt nice and snug, because if you don't, your handlebars will move. And then you also want to come into the side here, and for good measure, just make sure this is tight as well. And there's two of them. So, but actually this is the side you would be loosening or tightening with the writing on it. So that's nice and tight. And now our handlebars are adjusted. And again, these adjustments here, the height, this tilt, and the angle of the bars, all things that you may just adjust as you make your rides and you figure out what's best for you. Okay, so that is it. Couple things to point out still. Tire pressure is located on the tire, and it is 40 to 65 PSI. So you'll find that down there. Your battery, your keys will come attached to your front handlebar cables. Now the keys are used to lock the battery on to the bike. They are not used to turn the battery on or off. You'll insert the key to remove the battery. Right here is your charging port. You can charge the battery if it's on the bike, or you can take the battery off and charge it. Now, in order to turn the bike on, you actually have to turn the battery on, and there's a switch located underneath here. So that needs to be turned on in order for you to turn the e-bike on. And once you turn that on, you'll come up here and hold your power button. And now that tells us that the battery's not on. And now you can turn your battery on. You have your pedal assist level right here. You have your throttle right here. This will need to be in at least level 1 for the throttle to work. To turn your light on, you will press and hold the up button, and you'll see the light symbol come on here indicating your light is on, and you'll just hold that to turn it off. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out was about the gears, which are located here, and your brakes. The gears and brakes will come pre-tuned from the factory, and by pulling the lever, if they feel kind of soft or like they're not responsive enough, I recommend having a professional do the brake adjustment, or we have videos you can reference to do it as well. It is a good skill to be able to learn, because over time your brakes will need to be adjusted as the brake pads get worn down. That may take a year, it may take 6 months, it may take 2 years. Really depends on how much you ride. Inside of the calipers are actually brake pads that can be changed. The pads are not very expensive, $5 to $10. It's something you can do at your home. And you'll start to see as you pull the brakes, if you don't feel like the bike is stopping quick enough, either you might need an adjustment or you might need new brake pads. So that's something to pay attention to. But also on the gears, if you find that the gears don't seem to be going into all the gears, we have videos you can reference and do that adjustment at home as well. Or again, you could have a professional do it. Now, working our way up here to the fork, I also wanted to point out you have the suspension fork. Now, the suspension fork has 2 modes, right? Open and locked. In the locked position, the fork, this is the open position. So this allows the fork to travel up and down, and that provides the suspension, and that creates a more cushioned ride. Now, when you flip it to the locked position, the fork will not move up and down at all. It's a more stiff position, but that will make it more efficient because the wheel will roll better since it's not going up and down. So totally up to you to choose which position you like. You can play around with that, again, till you figure out what's right for your riding habits and your body. All right, so that's the Relaxed Body 500 watt Deluxe e-bike, how to assemble and the features. If you want to check it out, don't forget, it's linked in the description below. If you have any other questions at all, comment below or reach out to us, the team at sixthreezero.com, or call us 310-982-2877. Don't forget, we offer a 30-day test ride your e-bike policy. If you don't love it in the first 30 days, send it back. No questions asked, no money out of your pocket. In addition to that, we're going to warranty everything for 1 year. Anything goes wrong in the first year, we'll take care of it, parts and labor. And if you want to come for a test ride, we're here in San Clemente, California at 1046 Calle Recodo Unit K. Come on by, test ride any of our e-bikes before you purchase, and join our community. We have a Facebook group called Sixthreezero Peddlers. Join the group before you purchase to talk to existing riders to ensure you're making the right choice. Then when you have yours, post in the group, make friends, and finally download the app to track your rides and compete on the leaderboard. So thanks for sticking around, and don't forget, it's your journey or experience. Enjoy the ride.